Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, bringing you a review of only my second ever Figma. This one is Pit. Just like the Samus Figma, it is made by Max Factory, and it comes in this really nice packaging. Of course, all the descriptions and stuff are in Japanese, and it comes with pictures of what you can expect to find inside, along with alternate toys, such as the Dark Pit, which is also available, and the included cards. We'll see those in just a minute. It's very nice packaging. I got this figure on pre-order from AmiAmi, so shipping and everything, it cost me $36, which is just about half of what I spent for the Samus Figma, because with Samus I was stubborn and waited until it was only available on the secondary market before I finally caved in and bought it for myself. And by then I had to get it from Big Bad Toy Store, where it cost twice as much. But we're not talking about that. We're getting Pit out of the box so I can show him off. Yes. These Figma boxes. Just like with the Samus Figma, there is this thing. It has perforations so that you can take it out and decorate a stage with it, but I'm going to leave that there as the backdrop. And look at this. They could almost have just mailed it in this. It doesn't even need a box to stay together. So he has like a double-tiered tray thing. When we pull this out, we see all the accessories that he comes with. He has extra accessory hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. He has stage enhancements. He has a light arrow, those magical rings, and he comes with a representation of the silver bow. One of my favorite weapons from the Kid Icarus Uprising game, and the weapon that he's famous for using in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And he comes with a couple of augmented reality cards. There's one of Injured Pit, and on the back we have Mono Eye. They're nice cards. They come in this little packagey thing. Maybe I'll get that out later. And then the top tray has Pit himself. We're going to have to zoom out a bit if I'm going to see this. The Mono Eye is here. He comes with an alternate face and some more stuff down here, including here. What is this stuff? We got the Figma stage. We got an articulated arm. We have a little sandwich baggie that you can keep accessories in if you don't keep the box. And we have legal junk. Alright, so let's get Pit all situated up out of here so we can, talk about him. So here is Pit. And just as we would expect it for a Figma from Max Factory, he looks really cool. They got a ton of little details in here. Look. His hair has actual hair texture to it, and he has his little golden crown. He has all those cool little feathers. His little outfit is just so accurate to its appearance in the game. It's made out of a flexible material so it doesn't get too in the way during posing. That's all well and good. He has little details. I mean, sure, the sculpt is broken for joints, but, if you want an action figure and not a statue, you gotta have those somewhere. And, well, he just looks so fantastic and wonderful, and I just love everything about this thing. How big is he? Well, he is kind of short, actually. Although, it is to scale. Let me see if I can explain what I mean. Pit is not a big guy. He's like a teenager in terms of physique. For example, here is the Figma Samus, made the previous year. And as you can see, she is significantly taller than him. But then again, Samus is almost Amazonian in her armor. She's supposed to be like 6'2". So with Pit being this tall, he's probably around 5 feet, or probably just under 5 feet, like maybe 4'5". For a comparison to a figure that most people probably own, here's the Jazzwares Sonic, the 5-inch modern Sonic, and as you can see, he's his eyes are about chest level to Pit, which is pretty much how Sonic is supposed to be. Sonic's taller, but only by virtue of his ginormous head. If we're going to talk about eye levels, then Sonic's eyes are significantly lower. And if some people are just not satisfied with those kinds of comparisons, there's always the ruler. Pit is 4.5 inches tall, and he has a wingspan of 5.5 inches. So there. You can't, no longer is there any doubt about the true height of this figure. So, let's talk posability. Head. Head is on a swivel, and another swivel inside, so he can look down. He can look up about this far. He can look side to side. He can tilt. Very good. Very nice posability in all ways. Wings. There's a couple of Figma joints back here, so his wings can go up and down like this. They can come back like this, and they can fold all over the place. Let's zoom in a little closer to the joints. Elbow, you get about 90 degrees, maybe just a little bit past that. There's a bicep swivel there, of course. The wrist has a little bit of movement like this, but mostly it's just made for rotation. And of course, there's the old hand swap thing. In this case, the peg is inside the wrist. And as you can see, the peg is kind of held on in a ball joint in there. And his little fists just go onto the peg, as opposed to, say, the Samus Figma, which had the pegs in the hands and the hole in the wrist hole. He has a torso movement. Very good torso movement. Legs. His right leg can go out farther because the skirt's not in the way, but in principle they're symmetrical. He has some thigh movement underneath there, mostly due to the clearance of the sculpt. Very, very good thigh movement. His knee, let's go to this leg since it's not restricted. His knee is only single jointed, but it gets just over 90 degrees. That's pretty good. And his foot doesn't really have a lot of up and down, but it has nice inward tilt. So if you want to give Pit a wide-legged A stance with these feet, that should be no problem. You know what? I think I'm using the wrong kind of... What was I thinking? This is a soft piece of craft foam. It's not making an adequate stage. Yes, A stance is no problem. Alright, let's start talking about the stuff that Pit comes with. The most notable little accessory is Mono Eye. It's one of the enemies from Kid Icarus Uprising, and the original Kid Icarus game too. He has 1 point of articulation. When you grab this little tentacle on the bottom, you can make the eye rotate, look side to side. That's pretty nifty. He has a hole back here, and he comes with... Pit comes packaged with this extra clear stand, so you can just stick the stand into this hole in the back of Mono Eye, and have Mono Eye floating in the air. And then you can have him looking off to the side like that. It's He has like a really strong vinyl smell. Like he's made out of he's not made out of that same super hard plastic that Figmas are made out of. He's made out of somewhat softer material. Pit also comes with a much more articulated Figma stand, you know, with all this jazz. And he has this, it has the same peg there. You can stick mono eye onto that just fine. You know, do stuff like that. Although that tends to overbalance the stage. I think something like this is more what it's intended for. You know, just get a little bit more variety. How you want your mono eye to pose. And of course, Pit himself has a hole in his back, which can accept the peg in the Figma stand, like so. And then you can have some floating poses for Pit. You know, angels float because they're angels and they can fly. Well, Pit can't fly, but I'm sure there's at least one power that allows him to glide temporarily. At least he's not using the power of flight. Yeah. Alright, let's get the stand out of the way. Stands are for displays, and right now I'm not displaying him, I'm showing him off, which is subtly different. Let's talk about that extra face. The face that Pit has now is, it's a nice face. You look at it, it's kind of happy and idealistic, also somewhat determined. That's a good face for him. And remember my line overview, how I said that he kind of was stuck with that roaring face, and I wish he had, this is what I was talking about, I wish he had a swapping face like this. To swap out the face, you simply pull out the bangs. Then the face comes right off. Yep. And that looks properly terrifying. And then you stick the new face right there. And be careful not to poke your fingers on the laurel crown, because it's actually kind of sharp. Then you stick the bangs back in. And now you have Pit screaming. He's in the middle of a battle. This is Battle Cry Pit. Rah! I cannot imagine Pit with a battle cry. Although you can, you know, you can have like the righteous thing, like rah. Yeah, that looks good. It's so easy to make this figure look good. I mean, just a subtle little thing like lifting his arm up with this face, it suddenly gives him a whole new attitude. I love how those things work for Pit. Alright, so let's look at all the other little bits that he comes with. So here are all of Pit's bits. As you can see, he comes with 3 extra right hands, 2 extra left hands, the silver bow, which is initially packaged in double scimitar mode, an extra handle that I'll show you later, an arrow of light, and four rings of light. 2 with holes in the middle, and 2 with notches on the sides. I will show you what those do very shortly. So, starting off with the silver bow's scimitars, there's lots of detail in there, and I'm hoping it's showing up on the camera. I'm trying to move it around so that the light catches everything just right, and looks really good. You pull out the handle, which is a properly tiny piece of plastic. Like, in case it wasn't obvious, this is not, absolutely not a toy for little kids. It is way too small. Way too many small, delicate parts go into this thing, and it is definitely not for kids. So you can use the other handle that the bow comes with to make the silver bow. You can also put it this way, because in the video games, Pit has been known to assemble the swords this way so he can spin them. Very, very nasty. And I guess now is a good time as any to talk about these rings. You notice that they have a little notch here. If you look on the back of one of Pit's arms, his arm guard has two little holes in it. Come on. There we go. So you simply take the ring and you put it into those holes. Yep, yep, yep. Yep. There you go. And those are the rings of energy that go around Pit's hand when he's ready to shoot an arrow. Let's show him in some poses with the appropriate hands, so that we can see how he wields these accessories. So one of the alternate right hands is this arrow holding hand. It actually has a little peg hole. It has a little peg hole in the tip that the arrow goes into, and then you can put it up over his hand like this, so that he's actually drawing the bow to fire an arrow of light. You can also do some subtle repositioning and yada yada. See, the arrow is actually literally held here. Let me just take it out of the peg. See, there's a hole. See the hole? Right there, hole. Pretty cool. If you just want him to wield the double scimitar blade, that is also a perfectly viable option. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Very cool. And of course, Pit comes with holding thing hand for the right, so you can have him dual wield in double blade mode. I think I like this the best. It's because dual wielding is cool, and this is really how Pit looks like most of the time. At least in Smash Brothers when you're making attacks, because the bow is supposed to split so naturally apart. I will say something about his holding hands. Here's one of his left hands. It's the I have fingers hand, and it does not have any kind of glove or guard or anything on it. Here is his right fist. Again, a completely naked hand. But the holding thing hand for the sword in the right hand comes complete with that fingerless gauntlet thing and a hand guard, like the left hand has. I'm not sure if that's an error or if he just spontaneously grows one out of his hand. I mean, he's an angel, so he's probably wearing enchanted clothing. The pulling back the arrow hand also has the hand guard on it. And his left I have fingers hand has the glove thing, but it doesn't have the guard. I don't know. I'm not sure if... Oh, the left fist, also no guard, just the glove. I'm not sure if that is... I'm not sure if that's a mistake or what. It's weird. Like, depending on the hand options, he's vaguely symmetrical or asymmetrical. Figma, Pit, and Mono Eye are exceptional figures and accessories. With tons of display options, wonderful posability, and just a fantastically great assembly loadout. I absolutely love this figure as Pit, through the sheer act of being in that one game, instantly managed to rocket himself up to my fourth favorite video game character after Sonic, Link, and Samus. A spot which I just wasn't able to fill until now because I never had so much strong feels for a single character before. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that he was in one game, because this incarnation of Pit was in Brawl, but you know, he's only really starred in one game, and it's just such a great game, and he is such a great character, and this is such a great figure, and I'm just gushing, and this video's probably gone a little bit over long. So if you can find him and he's not at massive secondary market rate prices yet, I would highly recommend you get him. And if you could find the Dark Pit, the one with the black costume, I'm pretty sure he's exactly like this, except dark. So you would get him if you preferred the character more, or if you had enough money for the whole display and you wanted to set the both of them up fighting each other, that would also be great. Or if you just wanted to make something of a Smash Bros display and put him with your Samus figure, that's also a pretty great option. Although it's gonna look outright ridiculous how small he is next to her. But then again, Pit's that kind of hero. He's not the biggest, strongest guy out there. He's just a kid. He's just a kid with a big heart and strong will, and he's gonna save the day, and he's gonna do it all idealistically and happily, and he's just gonna look so cute. So this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001 signing off.